that says that it's recording, right?
Yeah, can you, let me see.
Oh, I think we're good now. So this is Group 5. We're going to be covering the Disney Corporation. Our members are David Holderman, Timothy Lynch, Brianna Martinez, Shantae Myers, Cerinthia Smoot, and Brandon Tate. Back one.
Hi, everybody. I'm Shantae Myers, and I'm studying for my bachelor's. Well, actually graduating in May with a business admin degree, focus in management. I've been in the program probably about 2.5 years, 4 semesters. And I'm also a part of the BSU, Black Student Union. And postgraduate career plan is to be a professor of business.
Hi, my name is Cerinthia Smoot. I'm also a senior. This is my last year. I'll be graduating May 2023 as well. For my student organization, I am the treasurer of the Black Student Union here at the AV campus. And my postgraduate career plans include general management, operation management, and human resource management.
My name is David Holderman. I'm also a business admin major. I'm graduating in May as well. I am not currently in any student organizations, and my postgraduate career plans is management analyst.
Hi, my name is Brandon Tate. I'm also a senior. I'll be graduating in May as well. I'm also in business administration with a general concentration. I'm not active in any student organizations, but I am active outside. I'm a president of the Mojave Unified School District School Board. My postgraduate plans, I'm actually currently in this position as a quality control systems manager. My goal afterward with the degree is to attain higher pay grades and move up more in civil service of the United States Air Force.
Hi, I'm Brianna Martinez. I am also a senior at CSUB. My major is business administration with a concentration in management. I am not currently in any student organizations. My postgraduate career plans is to be a budget analyst.
Hi, I'm Timothy Lynch. I'm a business admin, and I've been going for about 4 semesters at CSUB, and I am not part of any student organizations. And my postgraduate career plan is to become a financial manager.
Want to just go in order, Timothy?
Yeah. So my desired occupation and job is to become a financial manager. And I just like dealing with money and helping people out and seeing what I can do to help improve people.
I'm presenting for Cerinthia Smoot. She is desiring to be a general manager and general and operations manager at a large company or corporation after post-graduating. And I think she'll make a great manager.
Hi, I'm Brianna, and my desired job after graduating is to be a budget analyst.
My desired job is a management analyst, and I just kind of enjoy kind of putting the ideas out there to see how companies can work more efficiently.
Hi, everybody. This is Shantae Myers. My goal is to be a professor of business for the management courses. I also desire to teach marketing and maybe a little bit of economics. I would love to be employed by one of the 23 CSUs preferably CSUB on the AV campus, but if I have to commute, I am willing to relocate to Bakersfield.
Hi, this is Brandon Tate again. My desired job, which as I said, I'm currently in will be a quality control system manager.
So for when we looked up the job summary report, my occupation says that you establish and maintain relationships with individuals or business customers, or provide assistance with problems these customers may encounter. One of the talents that you need to have is being able to work with computers, and 56% of requires a bachelor's degree with a pay rate of $63.32 hourly and $131,710 annually.
So when I looked up my job's description, some of the duties included review financial statements, sales or activity reports, and other performance data to measure productivity or goal achievement, or to identify areas needing cost reduction or program improvement. 26% of people in this line of work required their bachelor's, and business intelligence and data analyst software is one of the skills required by this position. The typical hourly rate for this position is $47.10, and annually is $97,970.
Hi, I'm Brianna. Some of the duties for my position that I want to do as a budget analyst is to summarize budgets, submit recommendations for approval of funds or disapproval requests. The hourly is about $38 and the annual income is $79,000.
Mine said administration and management knowledge, active listening and complex problem solving, oral comprehension and problem sensitivity. And you confer with personnel to coordinate business operations and structured versus unstructured work.
Hi, everybody. This is Shante Myers. If for my line of work, which would be a professor of business, I would have to have a lot of knowledge of education and training in administration and management. And my speaking needs to be on par. I need to have instructing and active listening skills. I currently got accepted into the MBA program, so I'm hoping to gain those skills through the master's program at the AV campus through CSUB. However, I believe the starting annual rate is about 100,000, I believe. And then meanwhile, while I'm doing that, being a professor, I would like to also apply for my doctorate through the AV campus.
Hi, this is Brandon Tate again. As I said, I'm already a quality control system manager, which basically I just oversee all the quality aspects of my firm. So in my current career field of fuels, I just ensure that the contractor performs duties in accordance with Air Force regulations. I'm lucky because this job actually it says 100% requires a bachelor's degree, but because of my experience from being active duty Air Force, it got me into the job. The hourly pay rate's about $49.59, and then $103,150 a year. I mean, that's all I have about that.
Hi, after doing the Big Five personality traits quiz, I absolutely agree with the results of the Big Five personality traits. I am extremely extroverted. I can be quite sensitive, agreeable, and I do tend to have quite the imagination. Last but not least, I am on the subject of emotional instability. I can be quite unstable at times, but I'm doing things to control that so that I can be a good professor.
For the most part, I felt that the big five personality traits were partially accurate. Mostly because I got a 46% in imagination, and I'd like to believe I have a big imagination. And I feel like I'm a little more conventional than they gave me credit for. However, I agree with the 91% for emotional stability and consciousness, due to people always tell me that I'm real stable in like high emotional situations, or I'm always like the voice of reason. I try to look at other people's perspective and not just one-sided views. So I think that it was pretty accurate. It was some things that I questioned, but in reading more of the traits, I ended up agreeing with it.
Hi, this is Brandon Tate again. I have to say I partially agree with the results because I do think that intellect is a big part of my personality, and it was my highest percentile with 46 percentile. However, I don't really agree with the agreeableness because the test said I was in the 0 percentile, so I'm not agreeable at all. But I don't think that that's correct because I think I can be agreeable when I need to be. So I mean, for me, that's what I have to say. Is just that it's partial.
Hi, this is Brianna. I agreed with most of the results from the big five personality traits. I didn't really agree with my results from the introverted and extroverted.
I agreed with 4 of the 5 factors. The one I didn't agree with was the agreeableness because it says critical and aggressive, and I tend to not be very aggressive towards people or tell them things even if I think it. I tend to just go along with it. So I didn't really agree with that one.
I did agree with most of my big five personality traits. I did score low on one of the things that I thought I should have scored high on. So maybe I'm just not exactly what I thought.
So what I felt that the group learned from the big five personality traits activity, the results from the activity, I think as a whole, were quite accurate, especially the extroverted part. I think we all tend to be pretty agreeable. We've been working together the whole 2 years in the program. And if you answer the questions honestly, you're going to get the best results from the activity, I believe. And there's no need to be any denial or anything about our traits.
Yes, I agree. Our group learned that the results are pretty accurate in correlation with our personalities. Although there were some parts that we felt could have been different, like David said, maybe we're just not in tune with ourselves as we thought.
So I mean, like I said, with mine, I do think it can be accurate on some people's personality, but I don't think it's going to reflect the person as a whole because, like with mine, I didn't agree with the agreeableness portion. So I think there are going to be some inconsistencies.
We learned that they can be very accurate, but it can depend on if the answers are answered correctly.
We felt like the test can over exaggerate someone's personality. So they might have it, but the test will say that it's a major part or says that they have it more than what they think they do.
I thought that it showed fairly accurate for the kind of personalities that we have. Even if they're not necessarily what we wanted to see, seems like test scores don't lie.
Okay, so on the RACEC personality types and occupation report, I scored the highest in being social and enterprising. I am extremely extroverted and I love meeting new people. I am enterprising according to the RACEC. I agree that I am energetic and quite ambitious, and I'm really stoked about becoming a professor in the future.
I also scored high in the enterprising and social category. Um, I would have to agree that, you know, I wouldn't say that I love being the life of the party. I'm pretty much a wallflower unless I feel comfortable. And then it's just, you know, very social from there. But I do think that I have a lot of energy when I'm passionate about something. And if I'm not very passionate, then I probably don't express the same amount of energy. But overall, I think I'm very energetic. And I did agree with the enterprising portion of the description.
My two highest scores were contradictory because one was enterprising and then the other was conventional. And enterprising is a leadership, like you're a strong leader, and conventional was that you like to have someone lead you and you like to be a follower. So I had two opposites be my two highest scoring.
My highest score was realistic, and this seemed pretty fitting because it states that these people don't enjoy doing paperwork. My lowest score was enterprising, and that also seemed fairly accurate because I'm not a natural leader. I'm generally the most successful in jobs when I'm given strict instructions and told exactly what to do.
My highest was conventional, which to me made sense because I do have OCD, so I do like having those set routines, and I do enjoy like doing Excel spreadsheets. And my lowest was artistic. I mean, and again, that kind of makes sense for me because I don't really think I'm artistic, like in the sense of like drawing or like creating music or anything like that. I've tried my hand at it, but just not something that I am comfortable doing.
My two, sorry. Okay, sorry. My two highest scores were conventional and enterprising. This made sense to me because I like to have clear rules.
So when it came to the RACEC personality types activity, my highest scores are social and artistic. I am an extrovert and I enjoy people. And I feel like I am going to make a great professor someday. I will pay special attention to detail while teaching and informing my students on how to be great business managers someday.
So my highest score was enterprising, which is applicable because those in this position tend to make decisions, persuade others, and lead teams. Rather than spend too much time thinking about ideas, I'm one to take action, which is it sums me up pretty well. With high levels of this interest, those should look for work in starting up and carrying out projects.
My highest score was enterprising, and eventually I do want to start my own financial management business. And when you start your own business, you're probably going to have employees, and so you do need to be a leader in that aspect to have a successful business.
I thought that artistic and conventional were the most interesting to me. While these were two of my top three highest scores, I don't really think of myself as an artistic person or a leader necessarily.
I thought these were pretty spot on for me, uh, because I mean, like I said, with the conventional, like I do like set routines, and I also find that it was interesting that it said that my current career is a fit for me, being a quality control analyst. So I mean, I guess I'm in the right career field for my personality type.
I found that enterprise and conventional were the most interesting for me. And those were also the ones where I scored the highest. I do like figuring out problems, but I get frustrated easily if I can't figure something out, which is probably why I scored a 0.
Thank you.
Okay, and the race sick personality types activity as well, I feel the group has really learned. And I believe that we learned a lot about each other from this activity, such as who are the leaders in the group, which would be probably Brandon and myself the most. I think we're the bossiest, right, Brandon?
Probably so.
Diana is very artistically inclined and a realistic type of personality. Timothy is an intelligent and conventional personality. I felt, I don't know if I'm on point with that. David is a musician type of artistically inclined personality. I feel like I could totally picture him with a guitar in his hand and a drink in another. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, and Sarinthia is a borderline realistic and investigative personality. She questions everything.
I wrote that I learned that I am more artistic than I thought. I didn't think that I was very artistic. Um, in definition of the test, I scored extremely higher in the artistic level than I thought. But my strengths lie within an enterprising, conventional, and social personality, which I pretty much agree with. And I should look for a career that allows me to stay true to these core values and interests.
We all seem to agree that the personality types that we tested high in do represent our personalities, and we can use those to help us find careers that fit us better.
I thought it was interesting that it seemed like within our group specifically, a large percentage of the members showed that they were willing to take the lead or be the leaders of a team.
I did agree with the enterprising score because I do think that I'm not really a natural leader either. I would much rather just sit back and give my input when I can. But if I need to jump in and take the lead, obviously I have that ability as well.
Many of our group members agreed with what they scored in low and what they scored in the highest.
You want to take that, B?
Oh, is it mine?
I can do it. So now we're going to dive into our company discussion of Disney, and we're going to start by giving a brief history of the Disney group. Disney did not stop his designs there and opened his first amusement park, Disneyland in California in the summer of 1955 and Disney World in Florida in 1982. It is incredible how one man could bring his dreams to fruition on such a small budget and go on to create a multi-billion-dollar chain of nonstop family enjoyment for the whole family. Consumers would not have heard about them without this article featuring the 26 Alice in Wonderland cartoons that were aired live in television in 1927, Famous names such as Minnie and Mickey Mouse started with Disney and were the catapult of a company that has now spread into many different entertainment outlets, such as theme parks, production studios, cruise lines, media production, and a huge line of movies and streaming platform.
Next slide.
Did we say anything about the past? Because that just popped up after I looked to the next slide.
Right, you gotta do the I'll do it. So essentially the past, so Saranthia did the modern history of Disney. And the past, well, before becoming the Walt Disney Group, Disney gained momentum in the 1950s with the hard work of Walt and his brother Roy and the creation of the Mickey Mouse Club in 1955. Walt Disney moved in the early 1900s to California with mainly Mickey Mouse merchandise that Walt sold for $300 measly to a man in New York that had an idea to paste some pictures of Mickey Mouse on some pencils and dishes and many more objects or accessories. And Disney moved up through the ranks with many more animated films created by the fantastic cartoonist. Disney did not stop his designs there and opened his first amusement park, Disneyland in California, in the summer of 1955, and then Disney World in Florida in 1982.
So the legal environment in Disney Group, as of right now, Disney and the Florida government are in a legal battle over the autonomy that the theme park holds. It's Disney World in particular. The importance of this is that Disney was in essentially its own government body. They paid for their own fire department. They paid for their own police force. They were able to move and do things that without government approval because they were technically their own government. And what the Florida government wants to do is take a lot of those benefits back from Disney so that way they have more control over what Disney can do. And the impact of this, if Disney loses their special status, as they call it, Disney would lose large amount of money because they would have to pay different taxes, and they would have to start paying for different services that they were not required to pay for before. But most importantly, Disney World would lose the ability to innovate and improve the Disney experience. Disney World is very good at coming up with new theme parks and new rides and new experiences, mainly because they don't have to worry about government interference. So they can just plan and do what the company wants to do. And if Florida takes this away, it would stop the ability to do that. My recommendation is that one of the reasons why the Florida government is taking it away is they're saying that the contract that the government signed with Disney was with the old administration as they were leaving. And all Disney has to prove is that even though they signed it and it was legally done, and that the government shouldn't have the power to come to back out of the deal after the deal was done legally. Next slide. Human resources and diversity. Disney right now is in a fight with the Disney union, employee union that for Disney to have higher wages. The importance of this is if the employees are fighting for higher wages and they decide to go out on strike, this can lead up to 46,000 employees leaving Disney World alone. And the amount of money and time it would take to replace those people and train new people to take their place would be a high cost. And is the impact of this is again high costs if the employees go on strike. but also one of their rivals, Universal Studios, in response to this, started paying higher wages to their employees as an insult to Disney to show that it can be done relatively easy. So it is impacting their image amongst not only people, but their workers, that their rival is able to meet the demands that they want. And my recommendation is just to find common ground with your employees. The employees are asking for, Disney says that they will give them $20 an hour, but they would only raise $1 per hour for the next 5 years until they hit 20. And the employees want it to not be $1 per year, but for the first year be $3, and then $1 for the next 2 years. And that way they can reach 20. And since you're not far off, let's see if you can find common ground.
So as far as marketing, the issue is to maintain its competitive position in the market. Disney must introduce innovative goods and technology through innovation styled marketing tactics. The importance of this is that the company's primary challenge is its lack of clarity. They are a master of none and a jack of all crafts, making it harder for them to market all of their many product lines. The impact of this is Disney spends too many resources with this approach. By them not looking to expand into different markets or their marketing technique, it just keeps them bottled into this old way of doing things. And as you see, the society is changing every day. So our recommendation would be for Disney should not market too many different products at one time and focus on the best-selling services and products, which I think they are focusing on now. Like I see them focused on, what's hot or what new movie releases they have going on, which is a great tactic that they should imply in the future as well. Next slide.
Okay, so I'll be talking about the finance issue with Disney. The company has difficulty with its core expertise and fails to use its resources well. The bursting of an economic bubble might result in a drop in prices, their entry prices, the prices of the goods at their many stores that they have novelties for sale at. That might result in severe consequences for investment for such a huge corporation that is always an imminent threat, I'm sure, for them. The importance of this is even large corporations might suffer from these dangers if their cushioning strategies are incorrect. Top-rated firms like Disney have a few chances, but they can eliminate them with careful planning. It poses an extreme risk to the firm and the millions of employees and their families that depend on Disney for their livelihood. And the impact, as I've seen on social media and the news lately, they are having to lay off a lot of employees. So it actually did happen. So they're turning out huge numbers back to the unemployment lines. They have many employees that I'm sure are very overwhelmed. They're overwhelming the unemployment department, and the unemployment rates are really going to soar. My recommendation were there are various prospects for Disney's company's development, sorting out opportunities and correctly arranging them while aligning them with the company's strengths may benefit their recovery.
So this is my slide. It's for operations management, information systems.
Click it again.
Yep.
I'm sorry.
No, you're good. Okay, so the issue is Walt Disney customers find navigating the park and paying for services and goods with cash or credit cards cumbersome. The goal is to provide entertainment to the whole family without it being burdensome to navigating the parks for adults. before the creation of RF technology, which allows the adults to have wristbands, or as Disney calls it, magic bands, on the whole family, the adults would have a horrible time, would have to be just satisfied with their kids' enjoyment. Paying for goods or services with cash or credit cards was sobering and time consuming. The recommendation would be to keep creating and promoting the magic band so that parents that are not familiar with the new technology won't be intimidated by it and take advantage of the convenience of paying for services with a watch. So, I mean, it's just that, having to pull that credit card out of your pocket versus having a band on your wrist that you can just scan and pay for.
Hi, I will be discussing the management issue. The corporation spends a lot of money on training, and for a firm like Disney, this is a big problem because Disney's suffering of bad financial strategy. This corporation is losing more than 1 billion currently. The importance of this is that Disney can introduce innovative technology to the market and stop the cash leakage. The impact is that the firm has a strong cash flow structure, which allows it to engage in high quality, high budget projects. If it was managed correctly, they would be able to get on top of the issue and keep the parks operating in a top fashion. Some of the recommendations is that Disney needs to put majority of their strong cash flow into creating more Disney characters for future promotions.
The economics issue is it is incredible how one man could bring his dreams to fruition on such a small budget and go on to create a multi-billion-dollar chain of nonstop family enjoyment for the whole family. It's important because Walt started out with a measly $300 that he made off of the sale of Mickey Mouse drawing when he went from New York to LA. The impact, Disney moved up through the ranks with many more animated films created by this fantastic cartoonist. Before becoming the Walt Disney Group, Disney gained momentum in the 50s with the hard work of Walt and his brother Roy and the creation of the Mickey Mouse Club in 1955. And the recommendation, Disney becoming an international can be very beneficial for companies, especially if they find it challenging to continue grow domestically. Disney is likely prepared for potential troubles when building upon and simplifying its already present and robust international brand presence.
So these are the references that we used in this presentation. And last but not least, the next slide is the video that we chose to use.
Dreamers can come from unexpected places. In 1901, a child was born in Chicago. When he was 4 years old, his family moved to Missouri. Even as a young boy, Walt Disney already loved to draw. His interest really grew when he was paid to draw the horse of his neighborhood doctor. Even though he was going to school and working for his father's newspaper already, he always found time to practice. He often went out to the railway lines before school and after work because he loved drawing the trains. It was an exhausting schedule, but he kept his love of art and story close by. When Walt was 18 years old, he got his first job as a commercial illustrator. Although his attempts to assist in World War I put a brief pause to his career, he never stopped drawing.
You can't mute yourself.
When he joined the Red Cross, he continued doing illustrations for a military newspaper and also made pictures on the side of the ambulance he drove. When he returned, it didn't take him long to decide he was going to move to California, where there were more opportunities for artists. He worked for several different companies simultaneously in the beginning. He would draw comics, do other writing assignments, and started studying animation together with his friend, Ub Iwerks, another cartoonist. In July of 1923, he made the move to Hollywood. At the time, New York was the hotbed of cartoonists, but Los Angeles held its own appeal because Walt's older brother Roy was there recovering from tuberculosis. It was there he got a start by selling a cartoon titled Alice's Adventures in Wonderland. Along with his brother Roy, they started the Disney Brothers Studio to produce the films that had been contracted by a New York film distributor, Charles Mintz. They hired Lillian Bounds in early 1925 as an ink artist, and by that summer, she and Walt had married. The Disney Brothers Studio continued to produce the Alice in Wonderland cartoons, even though Walt had grown tired of the series. This led to tensions between him and Charles Mintz. Walt's conflict with him lost him one of his earliest characters, Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, along with half his animation staff in 1928. However, that loss instilled in Walt an even bigger inspiration. In that same year, he created a character that is known worldwide, and possibly the most famous cartoon character in history, Mickey Mouse. Steamboat Willie was the first sound cartoon and became a huge hit. As Walt himself put it, it all started with a mouse. And did it start? For decades following Mickey Mouse's creation, there were dozens of iconic characters in multiple shorts and later full-length feature films. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was an achievement that no one in Hollywood thought would work. It was incredibly expensive and used a variety of new techniques that Walt and his team had invented. As Walt put it himself, if you can dream it, you can do it. More and more characters came out, several of the iconic Disney characters even helping raise money in World War II. Walt was passionate about the United States and American history. It was important to him to be able to contribute. Many of the stories throughout the 1940s had patriotic themes. In 1946, he was a founding member of the Motion Picture Alliance for the Preservation of American Ideals. Although he got caught up in the Red Scare, throughout all of it he continued to produce films and other cartoons. In 1950, Walt would have another grand idea. People were passionate about his films and curious about visiting his studio. However, there wasn't room to allow the public backstage, so he began to consider creating a theme park. He knew that if he took on something of this magnitude, he wanted it to be different. Theme parks at the time were often more like carnivals, impermanent, dirty, and not a place for parents and children. He decided to purchase property in Anaheim, California, in an orange grove. It was some distance from the studios, so he created a new arm of his company, the now famous Walt Disney Imagineering, the employees creatively called Imagineers. Creative and entrepreneurial ingenuity was needed to create Disneyland, so he started a series of shows on ABC, which, at the time, was a new network. He drove viewers to their channel, and in return, they helped fund the new park. Walt's passion for American history would soon come to life on Main Street, USA, where he rented out many of the shops to outside companies in the early days. Disneyland opened to great fanfare on Sunday, July 17, 1955. It was so popular that over 200,000 people showed up. And this, even though it was an invitation-only event. His fans were creative too. People had fabricated tickets, and some even climbed over the fence to see the park. It opened to the public the next day. There were 20 attractions. One of Walt's favorites was the narrow-gauge railroad that linked all of the lands in the theme park. Even future President Ronald Reagan attended, a longtime Hollywood friend of Walt's. By the end of its first year, Disneyland had received over 3 million visitors. Walt began expanding beyond just films, TV, and theme parks. With the success of shows like the Mickey Mouse Club, he was able to spend time on other projects. He was tapped to help plan a contribution to the 1959 American National Exhibition in Moscow. He created a 360-degree film called America the Beautiful, which turned out to be one of the most popular attractions. It is often overlooked that Walt was also a conservationist. He cared about animals and nature. He created several documentary films, though while not always accurate, inspired a generation of young people to look more closely at nature and science. More iconic contributions would follow. It's a Small World debuted at the 1954 New York World's Fair and is now a mainstay at both Disneyland and Disney World. It was not long after that he announced plans for a Disney World on property he had purchased in Florida. He tagged the idea the Florida Project, and similarly to Disneyland, he again used his reach on TV to talk about developing the park in order to attract investors. Due to its larger project size, Disney World could be a much more elaborate version of Disneyland. Magic Kingdom would be the park that most resembled its California forebear, but Walt also had plans for an experimental, prototype community of tomorrow. Epcot, which he described as an experimental prototype community of tomorrow that will take its cue from the new ideas and new technologies that are now emerging from the creative centers of American industry. It will be a community of tomorrow that will never be completed, but will always be introducing and testing and demonstrating new materials and systems. And Epcot will always be a showcase to the world for the ingenuity and imagination of American free enterprise. While this park does exist today, there were substantial changes from an actual city where people lived to the theme park it became. Sadly, Walt would not get to see Disney World come to light. He was diagnosed with lung cancer in 1966. He passed away in December of that year. He was 65 years old. Despite his untimely death, Walt was an inspiration to many creatives the world over. His Walt Disney Company gave opportunities to generations of entertainers and artists. The Disney parks, with 3 international parks, see millions of visitors every year. His company that started with nothing more than an idea and a love of drawing has become a juggernaut in the film industry and has touched the lives of millions of people all around the world. To quote Walt himself, "When you're curious, you find lots of interesting things to do." Walt Disney certainly found interesting things to do and created some of the most influential art of the 20th century. He blazed new trails and set a stage. As he said, it's kind of fun to do the impossible. Hey guys and girls, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button to like and subscribe so you won't miss any future videos.
Okay, well, that concludes our presentation. Thank you for the opportunity, Dr. Ju.
Dreamers can come from unexpected places. In 1901, a child was born in Chicago.